Hello and welcome to our second episode of Just Better. For those who don't know, this is a series where we take a look at some rounds that were going pretty damn well for some teams, but then one player in particular was just better. Let's get into our first clip of this week. We jump into 100 Thieves on Pearl, who are currently behind not only in scoreline but also financially, coming in with some weaker weapons and somewhat struggling to get back into this game. Luckily for them in this round, Asuna was just better.
Angle being found and time is running low. Foot gonna make the most of it. It's Asuna! Absolute freak of nature.
It's safe to say there were definitely some elements of luck in this sort of round, a little bit of a lineup, and that's why, Josh, I feel like you can be forgiven for cursing this one.
And 100 Thieves don't tend to be that dangerous on these rounds. Well, let me just eat my words.
Our second clip is a pretty good example of how Na'Vi do well to almost roll with the punches until the very last second. Being caught off a little bit by one of these low buys coming out from Team Secret, they take an early loss but don't completely lose control. They're able to watch for flanks, make sure they catch out the lurker before they can really do any sort of damage, and then when they get into this sort of retake position, they just slowly pick Team Secret apart, one by one, reducing their players to dust, making sure any aggressive position is checked. It's all out a very good round from Natas Vincere. Unfortunately for them, as you can imagine, this round is about to go a little bit wrong. And mostly that's because Invy was just better.
And Invy has a turret, he has a sheriff, and he's got a 1v1! Magic strikes again!
Credit where it's due in this round, Invy does incredibly well to isolate these duels, taking the first initial fight using the turret for contact, and then just landing every single shot in front of him, even getting a round of applause from Angel at the end of it. Of course, a little bit of criticism can go the way of Na'Vi, but ultimately, Invy just had a fantastic round. Our third clip takes a look at one of my all-time favorite players, Mazino, and in one of his spiciest of situations, they're coming up against the, well, what's the opposite of a pistol god? I don't know. The team that lost every single pistol, and again, the round starts fantastically well for Vitality. They're able to get onto the site without too much trouble. They pick the right site as well, as it was relatively empty, and then even just start slowly picking their opponents apart. They have all the information, crunch in on two different angles to take them out of that garage position. However, they did then forget about Mazino and his magic.
Try to get themselves back here into the site. Mazino just going to be laying down smoke.
Mazino tapping on the spike, drastically outnumbered, but bear in mind, Vitality aren't anywhere near here. Someone needs to deny this.
This could be a heartbreaker.
Oh, he's done it! Right under their nose, they had no idea.
It's a round where you almost just have to respect the gall of the man. In those sort of situations, they almost come across as unwinnable, and Mazino just has other ideas, sticking within the smoke after it finally looked like Vitality were going to have their first pistol round. Unfortunately, this time out, it just wasn't to be. We now head into the match I think you've all been waiting for, the grand final of FNATIC versus Loud. And Loud in this round, again, start off fantastically. They open up with an aggressive push, fighting tooth and nail for tree control. And even though it starts to sort of swing back a little bit, FNATIC makes some mistakes. They make some errors, rolling thunder their own teammate after losing another man on the other side of the map. It is now their opportunity to try and fight back in on towards this A site. But again, it just doesn't seem to go particularly well. They get the space. They at least get themselves into the after plant and plant in a pretty strong position. But with Bolster being caught off, they needed a hero. And luckily for FNATIC, they had two.
Punish nevertheless for it still.
Rough timing.
Advanced crossfire. Leo making sure nobody can find him from behind, but it's Loud who are converging onto this position. 4 players, and look at it. It's meticulous. No gap left on standstill. Resend away! And just like that, shoes on the other foot. Kawazine, you can't even handle it. How do FNATIC do it?
Honestly, I wish I had the answers for you, Bren, but the fact is it seems like FNATIC have just made some unbelievable signings. Some individual prowess that seem to just shine through in this grand final, and let's be real, it was one of the main reasons they were able to take it over the line in the end. To finish, there was only one clip I could put to end this sort of montage of that grand final, and that involved a young man called Alfajer. It was a clip that ultimately won the team the championship, but again, as always, it seemed to start in a position where FNATIC was struggling. They were up against a very weak buy. They'd already done the majority of the work in the comeback, but players like Les, like Aspas, were fighting tooth and nail to turn this game around. A low HP Durka just about manages to get that spike down and give his teammate a chance in this 1v2. And luckily for him, the man in this scenario was having one hell of a tournament. He struggled when it came to winning in Turkey, but he was not letting it go when it came to Brazil.
It's all down to Alfajer. Noise everywhere, the double swing! Spray down!
It's safe to say this clutch pretty much encapsulated the entirety of this comeback. FNATIC being able to win rounds that maybe they never should. Loud being so incredibly close to closing out this match, and FNATIC just losing their minds at the end. Although I will say, there were a few people who got a little bit too carried away.
Noise everywhere, the double
Yes!
Spray down!
Holy shit!
Yes! A perfect way to end the grand final and a perfect end to this video. Again, thank you very much, guys, for watching. It has been a pleasure as always. This has been Just Better Episode 2. If you have any clips that you would like to see me sort of go through, be it a crazy clutch or anything you can think of, let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, of course. And again, we'll see you next week.